Today you get to interview one of your best buddies. I've been a dentist for 27 years, and New Patient Inc.'s been around 26 years. God, Mark, we met so long ago. I think I actually had hair when we met. Did I?
And I had more hair.
And you had more hair?
That's
but,
right.
Mark is an amazing man. I love Mark to death. He has been doing marketing and looking at results and doing direct mail. And I like the way Mark's mind works because Mark's a true scientist. Most research, people try to set up an experiment to prove that they're right. Mark doesn't give a shit what's right or wrong. He just tells you this works. You've even made comments to me 20 years ago. You told me one time, you said, you know what, we made 3 flyers and the one I hated did the best.
Right.
And
right.
You said, the one I loved the most worked the least. And Mark, right. you're like Google management. Google, I read Google's book on management. And if you come to, Google, everything their customer does is measure. So if you come into a Google meeting and say, we should do this, they say, great, show us your data. If you have no data, they show you the door. They don't want to know what your gut monkey feeling thinks. They want to know what the data says. So Mark, I'm going to throw your whole company under a bridge right now. And then I'm going to put you on the defense. Everyone says that, old guys like me, that, I got out of school in 87, May of 87, and Black Monday was October of 87. But it only lasted a year or two. Then after the 2000 Y2K, the market popped in March 2000. But at this last recession, Lehman Day, September 15th, everyone universally agrees the return on investment marketing, it just died. The economy died, the boat sunk. How many times have you heard, I used to sign up for a Val pack, and that's all I did. And I just paid X $100 a month, Val pack. I got 25 new patients. Now my Val pack doesn't even work. I used to have a yellow page ad. It used to give me 10 a month. Now it gives me 3 a month. Every once in a while, I'd mail out a newsletter and the phone would ring off. So did marketing die on Lehman Brothers Day 8 years ago?
I actually, I wrote an open letter to all of dentistry on the Dentaltown forum. I think it's actually under marketing. It's the first recession in this company's history where dentists didn't run in out of the rain like 8, 11-year-olds in a thunderstorm on a baseball field. They actually stayed with it through the recession, through the last 6 years. Normally, if you go through the company's historical numbers, our own company's historical numbers, whenever you would correlate our production, our revenues with a recession, you would see a dip. We've grown 20% year over year for the last 6 years. Okay, so the open letter that I put out on Dentaltown, it wasn't a thank you. It was finally. Okay. Finally, all the dentists didn't run in out of the rain into the dugout. Finally, they stayed committed to a consistent, orchestrated, efficient, effective marketing plan, even though many of those dentists, from doing so, maybe they ended up the year flat. Well, if you're flat at the end of the year when the industry's losing 18%, you're up 18% against your peers. Okay. So I think globally, I think this whole idea of doing marketing, it began when it became legal about 35 years ago. Then dentists went into the things that they perceived weren't competitive, like the yellow pages. Every dentist went to the yellow pages with their money because other dentists wouldn't get pissed off if they did it, right? And then over the years, the more aggressive and progressive dentists started to branch out into other mediums. And then the yellow pages, basically, they've evaporated. There's almost zero value for almost 99.9% of the dentists in the country, unless you want to be the emergency dentist in your town, what have you. I mean, that revenue or that revenue pool into the yellow pages dried up. Now you have dentists all over the country going, well, I was spending this money before. Now what do I spend it on? Okay. You have the birth of the internet in that same time frame, right? You have, arguably our testing of all other promotion mediums and the statistical effectiveness and risk of each one over 25 years, right? So as this new money, not really new money, it's the same money, as the same money was spent and younger dentists are coming in, they don't remember the old days when you were a schlock dentist if you advertised. The perception of your peers. The younger dentists they have no qualms about advertising. It's the 55 plus dentists.
Hey, watch it, buddy. Watch it. I'm 52.
Hey, I'm 53. It's the 55 plus dentists, okay, who still have that maybe odd. I don't blame them. I'm not blaming them at all. I mean, it's just an evolution. Okay, so the direct answer to your question, this last recession was the worst recession since the Great Depression. And it's the first recession in our 25-year history where we didn't lose 20% a year, we grew 20% a year.
So let me throw you under the bus again, because here's what the 50-year-olds are going to say. I'll say 50. Okay. I'll say 50. I'll put you and me in this boat. Mm-hmm. Mark. What I can't do advertising. These corporate chains, Heartland and Aspen and Dill, they're doing all that stuff. I can't compete with Heartland and Aspen and Pacific Dental Services. How's little old me gonna compete with those guys in my town?
Okay,
because I hear that a lot.
No, I know you do, and I think it's important for everybody on this call to recognize that there are two very distinct halves of the dental market. There are the moms who will choose a healthcare provider for their family based primarily on a price incentive. And there are moms who would look at you like you had three eyes in your head if you asked them to choose a healthcare provider for their family based primarily on price. All of corporate dentistry is not going after the bottom. Okay, so if you take those two, if you have a total market, women, and you put a dividing line right.
Explain to our viewers why you just said women, because the people.
96% of the phone calls that come into a dental practice are made by women. Okay, because guys like you and I, if we have a toothache, we do one of two things. If we're married, we ask our wife. If we're single, we call mom. Okay. I mean, that's it. That's why women make the healthcare decisions for the family unit, not only in America, because we work in 5 countries, okay? Not just America. This is universally true in those 5 countries that we work, okay? So,
and what 5 are you working in for our international viewers?
U.S., Canada, actually all of the U.K. now, and Australia. We have clients in 5 countries. So, and those two halves of the dental market, that's also true in all 5 of those markets.
So you're saying half are buying on price and half are buying on perceived quality.
Half absolutely will not choose based primarily on price. So you have to watch your targeting, you have to watch your design, because if you and let me get back to answer your question. The solo dentist or the 2 or 3 doctors single practice, or maybe the doctor who has 3 or 4 practices that doesn't want to become, corporate dentistry, right? Can they effectively promote to the top half of the market while corporate dentistry promotes to the bottom half? The answer is absolutely.
So you say that corporate dentistry is probably targeting the price sensitive bottom half of the market?
And there's no doubt. It's all you have to do is look at their promotions.
So their promotions to you look like they're going after the Groupon price shoppers?
Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't look to me like they are. They are. It's not a subject. If you look at a postcard, or if you look at a print ad, or if you look at a TV ad or a radio ad or whatever, okay, if the prominent design element is about some kind of a deal. Act now, and you'll get a $1 exam, or whatever, or you get a free exam for your kids if you come in and whatever. If that's the prominent design element of the ad, I don't care what it's written on, or if it's audio or if it's visual, you will excite potentially half of the US market. You will potentially turn off the other half. Now, the converse is true. If you promote dentistry based on the benefits of today's dentistry, not primarily on price, you will bore the bottom half. You will entice the top half.
And so if my, and I want to come back, don't let me forget to ask you, you just named a bunch of things. You talked about radio and billboard and print, right, and we assume website and SEO.
Internet, right.
What when you talk about if this marketing piece, whatever the medium, is not going to talk about price, what does interest mom? What topics when mom reads says, I like that in a dental office?
All right, this is where we get I hope your listeners can follow along. If you research the dental market as a whole, on a statistical level, you will find out very quickly how woefully ignorant they are on the benefits of today's dentistry. They have absolutely no clue. That's a value gap. Okay? In other words, their perception is here, dentistry's providing up here, there's your gap, right? Okay. So what you do is you you invest a boatload of money in testing and a boatload of money in independent consumer research. And you pull the data in and you find out what's most important to the moms in the top half. Now, the direct answer to your question is many things. Price is still number one concern to mom in the top half. But dentists confuse that and think that they have to give mom an incentive. What that does, though, is it turns off the top half, okay? What mom wants is a list of the most marketable attributes that every dental practice possesses. Every dental practice is different. Your dental practice is different than a client in Wisconsin, okay? You may have multiple doctors there. You may have a specialist. You may be able to take care of the whole family all under one roof. You may have very convenient hours. You may have I know you have CAD/CAM technology in your practice, right? You may be able to do restorations in one day. So you line up a combination of the following categories: price, technology, convenience, public relations assets, and services. You line up those categories and you blast them out in consumer surveys. And they score them based on, they're scored based on their responses. Okay? That creates a number. What's most important to what's least important. And when a doctor comes to you and says, I want you to market my practice and I would rather have less shoppers than I currently get, here's exactly what we do. We pull in their marketable attributes in a survey of questions about their practice. We line them up, we prioritize them by score, and then we fill whatever we're going to do for that dentist with the priority marketable attributes. Why would you use something that scores a 3 when the doctor possesses something that scores a 10? See what I'm saying? Okay. Now, here's where it starts to get a little more deeper. Some mediums, like the internet, like mail, some mediums allow you the space to present 8, 9, 10 priority marketable attributes. Some mediums like radio and television don't. When I say mail, there isn't enough room on a postcard to present an argument for the benefits of today's dentistry, which is why everybody that uses postcards puts a series of deals on there hoping the phone rings. Okay? But if you move to a trifold, you have room. If you move to an 8-page magazine, you have tons of room. Okay? Radio, you got 30 seconds. You have about, and I know you're going to interview Howie at some point in the future. Howie writes all the radio scripts. You have about 60, by the time you're done the intro and the exit, you got about 60 words. You have no chance of talking about all your marketable attributes. So what you do in radio is you create 5, 6, 7, 8 scripts, each about one aspect of your practice that scores the highest, and then you rotate those through your ad time. Okay? There's a way to do this in every medium. But anyway, that's how you do it. I think a lot of dentists think, or still think, that, and rightfully so, because those are the people they're bringing into their practice, and those are the conversations they're having with the patients that come into their practice. But I think most dentists, because of that, think everyone cares about is money or their insurance deductible. That is absolutely not true.
And being a dentist, the one thing that surprises me most about dentists is I don't know what it is about marketing or modeling, but a dentist goes to college for 8 to 12 years to learn how to do a root canal, filling, or a crown. So they just always assume somebody that knows math, calculus, applied math, physics, applied physics, chemistry, applied chemistry, biology, applied biology, dentistry. Of course I can do my own marketing. I mean, I know calculus, geometry, and trig. I can write this ad. Right. And they have zero training. And what do you think of the average dentist marketing? I mean, I still see ads, extractions, gum disease.
Wait, root canals.
Yeah.
Because that's what every consumer wants. They want a root canal.
Yeah, and I look at these ads, but then I know these guys because they're my friends. I mean, tonight I'm going with a dentist up the street and me to the ASU game. They're my friends. But you look at some of your friends' marketing, you're like, dude, what? Look at all the classes you took in college. You didn't take one class in marketing. So I want to ask you something. So you're seeing the data from all the United States, from 5 countries, whatever. So tell me this. Is marketing different in the big 117 towns over 100,000 people versus the 19,000 towns under 100,000 people? Is marketing different in the South versus the West versus the Northeast?
It's actually different practice to practice. I will tell you where we have the most failures. They are in densely populated urban centers. Manhattan, financial district in San Francisco, downtown Chicago, almost downtown anywhere. But we do have successes in downtown places. But
hell, San Fran's got one building that has 160 dentists in there. How do you market your way out of that?
They still call though. I know.
At that point, wouldn't you just recommend jumping out the window?
No, not out the window, but I have.
I'm kidding. That was a bad joke. That was a very bad joke. I'm sorry.
I have on many occasions recommended that they seek a different location.
Yeah.
I've
okay. Yeah. So let's go through it. You said the 5 things that catch your attention the most: price, technology, service. What was it? Convenience.
Public relations assets.
So I don't want to talk about price because that's a local deal. So number 2 is technology. What technology? What are you talking about?
Well, because the depth of ignorance is so vast, it's almost any technology. Well, you have a CAD cam, and you'd be interested in this, and so would Sirona, by the way. Okay. In our surveys, the way our surveys worked is you would ask the consumer a set of 4 questions. If you had a dentist that was within 5 miles of your practice and had moderate pricing, but could take care of all your family's dental needs all under one roof, and took your insurance, how would you rate that dentist? And then you would pull one question away and replace it with something else. You do that enough, it's called the conjoint analysis, okay? Those answers, addition by subtraction, creates a score, okay? CAD-CAM question that we put out there. We put those 3 questions in, but when we talked about CAD-CAM, it said, and I'll just paraphrase, if the dentist could start and finish your final restoration in 1 visit, what does that mean to you? What value would you place on that? Off the charts. We followed it up with a second question. If they were able to do that, would you change dentists? 76% of them said they would change dentists. Okay, okay. So now what does that tell you? Does it tell you that patients are into CAD-CAM technology? No, dentists are into CAD-CAM technology. Patients are into convenience, right? Okay, so all that stuff with technology. Hey, here's another one. How long have intraoral cameras been around, Howard? For as long as you have?
When I got out of school, they were already there.
They were already there.
They were already there in 87.
Well over 50% of the dental market doesn't even know what they're for, okay? It's things that are already old to dentists. A classic example would be the cavity detection lasers. The name escapes my mind. I think there's
Diagnodent.
Diagnodent. Okay, let's just go with Diagnodent. Okay. You can make a case for Diagnodent that the doctor's the most trusting, feeling, warmest, happy guy or gal on the earth because he or she invested money in technology that helps them find cavities way sooner to save the consumer money. Okay, now you connected technology with price. See what I'm saying? Okay, if you can almost take any technology, any service, you can almost take any of that stuff, weave it together to tell the story about a dental practice. But you have to prioritize them based on consumer scores. You're going to interview Howie in a later podcast. Howie's the right brain of the company. He's the designer. He's the creative. If you asked me to make you a mailer, Howard, it would look like a 6-year-old did it with a green crayon. Okay. I'm the analytical guy. I'm the business, practice management. That's my side. So between the two of us, I think we create at least one brain, leading the company. But when you're on with Howie, talk to him about what are some of the things dentists want to change. Okay. What are some of the things that male dentists do when they look at the designs we create for the first time? And it'll be interesting to your listeners. Okay?
And Mark does know what he's talking about, because when I got out of school 27 years ago, 1987, I hired you and Sally McKenzie. You guys were the first consultants that came into my office to tell me to get started. But you're right about that Diagnodent, because you'll see one dentist go in there and do the exam and then say, Mark, you have 2 cavities. And then the next dentist does the exam, but they hold the Diagnodent, and the Diagnodent's going, and their eyes get big. Right. And then they pull out the intraoral camera, show them with their eye, print it out, capture it. And what's funny is the guy who went to the Pankey Institute or the Dawson Center, got their MAGD, they always think they're the best dentist. Mm-hmm. But the country only fills 38 out of every 100 diagnosed. But I think the dentist who gets out the Diagnodent and the patient's eyes get big, then pulls out the intraoral camera, they see a picture, and I don't care if you fill it with amalgam or composite, but if they go up front and say, yeah, I need to get that fixed. Yeah. And if you fix 7 out of 10 cavities you diagnose, and I fix 3 out of 10, you're a lots better dentist than me. And everybody wants to debate amalgam versus composite, but the country, okay, so technology, so you said CAD-CAM, we talked about intraoral cameras, we talked about Diagnodent.
Digital x-rays is another one. I mean, they're not new to dentistry.
And that's because one dentist is showing him a 1-inch film on a view box, and the other one's got a computer monitor, and then can print it out on an 8x10. So that's why you're talking digital? Is that what you mean by digital?
Yeah, well, All right, let me give it to you more in a grand scheme. The reason why what we do is effective on the top half of the market is because no other dentist is telling these consumers what we're telling them. They're all sending them 6x9 postcards with 37 purple offers on it. Okay? That's the difference. I agree with you that the treatment plan sequence and how you present treatment is also probably equally important, because we have clients who get phone calls, they get appointments, and then you look at their average production, you're like, oh my God, what are these people doing? Okay? So I agree with you. That's important after they're in the chair. But the majority of dentistry is promoting dentistry based primarily on price. We only have a few hundred clients. There's 151,000 dentists in the country. Okay. When you walk into our new headquarters, there's a sign. It's on every employee's desk. It says, today I will teach 10,000 people the benefits of today's dentistry. So every employee times 10,000 per workday. Those are the number of impressions that we're putting on the street, not based on price. Okay. They're based on the value that the top half of the market wants, but we're fighting all those other impressions that all of corporate dentistry is putting out there, and all the solo dentists that are attempting to compete with corporate dentistry that they're putting out there. Okay, that's the big difference. All right, the value gap in the consumer's mind in the top half of the market, all you have to do is fill that value gap. You don't have to fill it with coupons. You really, really, really don't.
Okay, number 3 was convenience. Tell me what you're thinking when you say the word convenience.
Well, it's mom. You're a statistician in the U.S. economy. How many moms are working moms?
60%.
Right. Okay. So, now see, you're working. You have a husband. You have a home. Probably a kid or two. What, 1.8 now? Now that the population's declining. Okay. And so I would imagine that every day of your life is probably a pretty busy day. So would convenience be more important to you now or in the 1950s? Now, right? Now, convenience to the consumer, to mom, especially moms in the top half, they want to know if your practice can take care of them, their kids, their husband, when we drag them in kicking and screaming, maybe even their mom and dad. They want you to take care of their whole. She doesn't want to create a relationship with an ontist, whether it's a periodontist, an orthodontist, an endodontist. She doesn't want to create some other phone number, some other person she has to talk to, some other dentist that she has to have a relationship with. She doesn't want to do any of that stuff. Okay? She wants to drive up into a nice location, park her car in a nice, safe place, and go in and see the same smiling faces no matter what kind of dentistry her and her family want. Right? Makes sense with today's busy mom. Okay? She wants hours. We get this, Howard. This drives me insane. We have this question. Well, not really insane, but we have this question on our client survey. It says, do you have convenient hours? And we do this purposely, okay? And the doctor says yes. And the next questions are, okay, what are your hours? And invariably the doctor says yes and puts in 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday, okay? Those are the most inconvenient hours to any working mom anywhere, right? But the doctor's perception is that they're convenient. Now, the difference in statistical results between an exact same ad, except being able to list convenient early morning and early evening appointments for our newest patients, is remarkable. It's just one other arrow in your quiver, right?
So specifically, what would those hours be? What would be non-convenient hours, and what hours would make a statistical difference?
Anything outside of 9 to 5. So when I have a dentist that tells me that, I just ask them, would you and your team be willing to come in one early morning a week and stay one evening a week? You don't have to add treatment hours. You just have to adjust your operational schedule, okay? And 9 times out of 10, the dentist says, "Oh, I think my staff will revolt."
And you know what I tell the staff?
Okay.
You know what I tell my staff? I tell them that in America is 88% Christian. Every religion, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, every one of them says, treat other people like you want to be treated. And if you've ever used an emergency room on an early morning, evening, or weekend, if you can't give me 4 hours one Saturday a month, then it's all about you. And if it's all about you, there's the door. Because in my practice, it's all about the patients. And yeah, we're not going to work every Saturday, and we're not going to work every early morning, every evening, but you can, you can adjust the hours. And you hire on attitude, and you train for skill. And if your attitude is screw 7 billion people, it's all about me, this is all I'm willing to do, but I want everyone else to open early morning, evenings, and weekends. I want the hospitals and the malls and the ambulance to be there for me, but I'm not going to be there for them. That's the wrong attitude. And it's not a good attitude.
But it's pervasive.
Now, when you talk about convenience, is convenience hours only, or what does anything else come to your mind?
No. Well, convenience is treating my whole family. I started with that.
Okay.
That's enormous. Okay, enormous in mom's mind. Right.
One-stop shop.
Right. In other words, the scope of practice.
Okay. What would you call that? One-stop.
One-stop shop. Yeah, that's fine. You can call it one-stop shop.
Okay.
Right. Dentistry for the whole family. You can call it whatever you want.
Okay.
Right?
So one stop came to your mind. And by the way, I want to tell the rural doctors, because there's 19,022 towns that I'm telling you, and since this recession, I couldn't even list off the top of my head all the dentists that start calling specialists in the big town and saying, "Hey, are you a little slow? Yeah. Hey, you want to come to my office? I'm a 2-hour drive away." Oh my God, they can get anybody. I mean, orals, anybody.
Right.
So you can start getting specialists to drive, and that's the whole business model. Have you seen the big all-on-4 that's promoted by Noble Biocare?
Yeah.
Where they come into the big sounds of these big implant centers, and what are they doing? They're just flying in specialists that don't live in that town that are slow, right. And they'll say, "We'll line everything up. We just need a doctor to come in and do the surgery." So one stop, hours. What else comes to your amazing mind?
As far as convenience? All right, well, if you don't take my insurance plan, at least file the insurance for me.
Okay.
At least be able to tell me what you expect my copayment to be.
And Mark, of your clients in 27 years, we hear all these different numbers. What percent of dentists participate in insurance versus I have nothing to do with insurance?
That's off the top of my head. All of dentistry, I gotta believe it's somewhere between 70 and 80%.
Take insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I don't know that. I hate to spout out numbers that I don't know, but that's my gut feeling, Howard.
Okay. So one-stop shop, take insurance, convenient hours. Anything else come to your mind with convenience?
Well, it could be something like Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the office. I mean, these are things that we promote.
Okay.
It could be convenient parking in areas that normally don't have it. It could be almost anything we can hang our head. The idea in your message, Howard, is to balance these things. You can't just put a piece out there that lists all your conveniences. That's because convenience is only 18% of the equation. Technology is 19%, price is 35%, public relations and services makes up the difference. Okay? So you can't have a piece that talks about any one of those categories. You have to have a mix. Otherwise, you miss. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. So number 4, you said was services?
Service, yeah. It's amazing how services became in 4th, isn't that?
And what percent of services?
I believe it was 12.
12. And what do you mean by services?
Oh, it's just having a laundry list of pain like most dentists put in their advertising. Yeah, we do fillings, we do cleanings, we do whatever, gum, whatever. Okay.
So you call that your menu? Your menu?
Yeah, your menu. Right.
Your menu of things that you do.
Exactly. It's less important to the top half of the market than dentists think it is, because I see their advertising and it's 80% of what they talk about unless they're talking about a deal.
Okay, then last would be public relations, and what percent is that, and what is that?
10.
10?
Public relations can have a profound impact on females. Okay. I'll give you an example. And almost every dentist misses the opportunity on all of these. Prior military service. Right now, if you were in the Army or any of the armed services at some point in your career, it's huge. If you're in almost anywhere, but you were born, grew up there, went to school there, went to college somewhere else, and came back home, if you've been in the community, the length of time in the community, that's huge. If you've done charity events, maybe a Halloween buyback program, or maybe you have those free dentistry days or whatever you've had, okay? All of those public relations assets, they count up for a lot. They really do.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be a mix, right? One important, it's kind of cool. We actually did the importance of the doctor's age, right? And what we found is that the consumer doesn't want Doogie Howser, okay? But the consumer for sure doesn't want the old guy, right? So somewhere in the middle is what the consumer wants. And the reason I bring this up is nobody can change their age, and that's fine. But if you're a real young dentist, whoever takes your picture for your promotions needs to make you look as old as possible. And if you're, up there, then you need to do something with the makeup artist to make you look as young as possible.
Yeah, I stopped wearing Grecian formula and just shaved everything.
I know.
I have no gray hair because it's all in the shower.
But see, if I put gray hair on Howard Farran, you'd look older. You would. You'd look older.
Okay, so Mark, I want to get to another subject. So let's obviously these young kids understand. I mean, you see these young kids on their cell phones. I mean, even when they go out, they don't even talk to each other. They're all over the internet. Right. But if you're a 50-year-old guy and this recession's kicking you butt, let's get to the basics. What's your go-to first? You still like print? You like direct mail? You like website? You like billboard? You like radio? What's your go-to?
Well, there's 3 foundational staples. Internal promotion to your own patients. It's amazing how many dentists call me and say, I want to do more implants. And the first thing they think of is putting an expensive ad on the radio. And I say, well, how many of your own patients know that you do implants now? And they say, none. Okay, well, let's promote all the things you do to your own patients, because that's going to cost you less money and is likely to drive instant results and a higher ROI. So let's invest a little money into your internal promotion. Make sure everybody knows everything that you do, that you've already touched, right?
Okay. But let's get specifics. How does a dentist tell? A dentist has 2,000 charts, 2,000 patients record. How does he tell them all, or she tell them all, that she does implants?
You can be as simple as using the electronic tools like a demand force or a smile reminder or what have you, and sending them a single. Here's something we learned on a statistical level over all these years. Single topics. Okay. Now we do newsletters and they have their place. But if you really want to promote to your existing patients, you won't send them 27 topics, some of them unrelated, like recipes for apple tarts. Okay. You will send a single topic piece to your patients. And the other thing we learned is not very often. Max 4 times a year. You go over that too far and they start to tune you out, and they'll never hear any other message because they're already going to come into you twice a year. They already don't want to be there. They're already so happy when they leave, right? I got some people like, I'm going to send out more newsletters. No, wait a second. You're already sending 12 a year, which is 3 times as many as you should send. Okay. So you can send them through Demand Force, Smile Reminder, Lighthouse, whatever electronic service you use. Most of the practices only have about 30% of their patients with email addresses. Okay, so whatever that content is, print it, mail it. Get it out into the hands, but it's not a big expense. It's maybe 4 times a year. right? Email
So if you have your email, so if you have your 30 of your patients on email, you'd email them the piece, and if you didn't have their email, you'd mail to them once a quarter.
I would email to the ones that have an email. I would mail to all of them.
Okay, once a quarter.
Yeah, once a quarter, different piece.
And go and cover your low hanging fruit on internal marketing. That
and referral generation. Oh my. You know, in 30 some states in this country, it's illegal to incentivize a referral. Okay. But it doesn't stop literally tens of thousands of dentists from trying it. Okay. I don't know how many got in trouble, but I just sit there going like this, just waiting, you know, for the Dentaltown post to show up on my inbox. Honestly, that's the wrong way to look at it. And we kind of sat around quietly, you know, kind of doing our own thing. We've posted a couple times on Dentaltown to try and help out. The referral isn't about incentivizing your existing patient to refer. Okay. If you want to spur growth in your internal referrals, make the gift to your existing patient a total and complete surprise. That covers your behind with the state boards in those 32 states because you didn't tell them you're going to give them something, right? Now, I'll ask you a question as a guy. What's more impactful to a female? A birthday present on the day she was born, or a gift that you give her on some random Tuesday for almost no reason at all? Which one is she going to value more?
The random gift.
Exactly. Okay. So, but there's dentists out there spending boatloads of money, almost getting themselves in trouble, trying to incentivize your existing patients now have what's called a social relationship with you. This is no longer a transactional relationship. This is a social. It's sort of like going to Thanksgiving dinner and giving your mother-in-law $100 to cover her expense for the turkey. It doesn't feel right, okay? And especially to the moms in the top half, all right? The moms in the bottom half, maybe whatever, I'm not going to call it all corporate dentistry, but maybe the doctors who are going after the bottom half of the market, which is a lucrative market segment. No judgment here, okay? It's a lucrative market segment. Maybe those doctors are that half of the market will respond to an incentive to refer. But the top half, you're much better off gaining the referral, surprising mom on that Tuesday, and you watch what happens. She's going to refer 3, 4, 5, 6 people to your practice. Anyway.
Okay, so I want to get back to this. So I'm 50 years old. I want to new patient flow equals cash flow. I need to start doing some marketing. I call you up, Mark. I need twice as many new patients. What is your? I know it comes down to specific practices, but what's the average guy? What are you going to talk about? Print, radio, website. What is New Patient Inc.'s going to do?
Internal.
And by the way, I have to have full disclosure here. I've given you a lot of money over the years, so I'm not just what's that Schaefer commercial? I'm not just a customer. I love the product so much. I bought the company. I've hired you professionally over the years. What is the average doctor hiring Mark Dilatush and Howie Horrocks at NewPatientInc.com today? What are you doing for them?
If they don't already have them in shape, internal promotion, properly done external mail, properly done internet strategy. Out of those 3.
Say those 3 again.
Proper internal promotion.
Okay. Proper internal.
Properly done mail. And an aggressive and competitive internet strategy. Okay.
So let's
think of a house. Those 3 are the foundation. Don't go outside of those 3 until you can become dominant with those 3.
Okay, I feel like you've talked a lot about internal, and I know mail is important, but I'm going to start with the hardest one. Let's start with internet strategy.
Okay.
Because I've only got you for 15 more minutes. We're 45 minutes down, 15 to go.
All right.
Internet's the most confusing.
Yes. And it's over. Honestly, it's overvalued. Okay.
What does that mean? What does that mean it's overvalued?
There's tons of dentists who think they can get all their new patients off the internet. Okay. And honestly, I don't know one dentist that gets all their new patients from the internet.
Yeah.
However, as a primary marketing vehicle, the ROI is excellent because the cost is low. As a secondary supportive marketing medium, it's awesome. It works for dentistry exactly the same way it works for Nike or any other consumer item or service or anything, okay? Like when you go home tonight and you flip on a TV and you see a Nike commercial, that's the company putting their website on a medium called TV to drive you to the internet. That's what that is, okay? So for the dentist, they don't have a global reach. A dentist has let's just use an average. The dentist has a 20-mile reach. Very few patients are going to drive more than 20 miles to get to the average dental practice. Very few. There's exceptions. I know. Yeah, go ahead.
I have family that drive 1,000 miles, but that's only because it's free and they stay at my house for free.
Okay, all right.
That's slightly different.
Okay, I have to work the law of averages. Okay, let's call a dental market 20 miles. All right, just for So with the internet, step one, a well done, important point, consumer friendly website. That's step one. Step two, aggressive initial SEO. Okay, which is basically, and I'm paraphrasing out the wazoo right now, a study of all the local consumer searches for dental services and an embedding of all those key phrases in all the pages in your website.
Okay, but Mark, for viewers around the world, what does SEO mean?
Search engine optimization.
Which means?
The process by which you get your website ranked higher for a search. A search is Dentist Phoenix on Google, let's say, where your site gets ranked higher than the other 47 other dentists in your market who are trying to beat your ranking. Okay?
Yeah.
First step, great website. Second step, great initial SEO. Third, ongoing step, especially in a competitive market, and Howard, especially in your market, okay, because you're in a competitive market, right? You have to put website textual changes and some graphical changes on an ongoing basis. When Google changes their algorithms, you have to change the SEO that's in your pages. And social media, my God, you can dominate search if you exploit social media properly. If you know what you're doing, I'll use the same search, Dentist Phoenix. Okay, somewhere, I don't know if you can right now, but if you type in Dentist Phoenix, there's got to be a smart dentist in Phoenix who has a Facebook page, a YouTube, a blog, LinkedIn, and they're populating all those social media sites. And I bet you some social media comes up in that search. That's that dentist knocking competition down.
Okay, what social media are you talking? What social media should a dentist be participating with?
That's a loaded question. Most dentists should delegate it.
But I mean, what social media properties should your dental office be participating with, and your staff or someone?
I know. You just asked me the same question twice. Okay. But I'll give you the list. Okay, if it was me, I would have a blog for sure, a Facebook account, and a YouTube channel. Okay, those were the first three that I would establish. I would add Twitter and LinkedIn and all that stuff maybe later on. Okay,
so Google's the biggest search engine. YouTube is number 2 and Facebook 3, or vice versa, or
well, no, Google's
1.
Yeah.
And YouTube's 2.
I believe Facebook's 2.
Facebook's 2 and YouTube's 3.
Right, but we're not using Facebook. I don't want to confuse your audience, and I certainly don't want to confuse you, Howard, okay? We're not using social media in our internet department to get Jane down the street to like you. Okay, that's not what we're doing. Okay, what we're doing is we're creating Facebook posts and blog entries and YouTube videos that are named correctly, so that when a local consumer types in Phoenix Dentist, your Phoenix Dentist YouTube video pops up before Dr. Smith's office.
And can I tell you something I see in Phoenix? And I mean, you're the marketing expert. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, right. I probably did 15 root canals and pulled 100 teeth this week. And but I notice in the big cities though, Mark, if you ask, it's kind of like if you ask an orthodontist, "Are you a dentist?" and they graduate in dental school, he'll say, "No, I'm an orthodontist." Ask any oral. I only know one oral surgeon ever that passed the test. I asked Doug Triple in Seattle. I said, "So are you a dentist?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a dentist." And I thought, "Oh my God, because you're an oral surgeon, right? But you admitted you're a dentist?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, I was a dentist, and then I went to oral surgeon." But if you ask anybody in my neighborhood, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, proper Phoenix, Arizona, 100% of my neighborhood, you say, "Where do you live?" They say, "Ahwatukee."
Ahwatukee, right.
Yeah, so I see more people naming their neighborhood than their city.
Google Analytics will tell you. You can actually log on to analytics in your locale. This is how you start SEO. You actually do a search and have Google tell you what all the local consumers are typing in for dental services.
Okay, walk them through how they can do that.
No, just go to Google and go to Google Analytics and go to consumer search.
Okay.
This is like the design. This is like me designing something. It would look like a 3-year-old did it with a green crayon.
Yeah.
We have a world-class internet team. they're just super nerds, right? They manage all that stuff. Okay, but that's how to get there.
So what do you want to talk about next? You want to talk more about internet, or you want to go to mail? I only got you for 8 more minutes.
Well, I want to help whoever's listening. So we went through the 3 foundational staples. If your marketing budget is $5,000 a year or $50,000 a year, do not invest in anything else until you have a dominant position in those 3 things. That's another big mistake we see. We see dentists saying, "Oh, I got this money, I'm going to go try this," and they throw it against the wall, and then it likely doesn't work.
So until you're dominant, what 3 things? Internal, mail,
and internet.
Okay.
Done right, mail has a 96% success rate. Done right, the internet has a 95.6% success rate. Okay? You have a 4% shot at not making it work if it's done right. Okay? That's not bad. All right? Now, the next thing I'll talk about, which is kind of near and dear to my heart because I keep looking at the numbers, is we track 90% of our client phone calls. They come in, they're aggregated, right? Now, the aggregated phone calls aggravate me because 19% of them don't get answered. Okay? So for I have to believe that our client base is a small section of all of dentistry, right? Okay? Because we probably have poorly managed practices and pristinely managed practices among our client base, right? So if the average is 19% and dentists are crying that they're not getting enough new patients, okay, answer your phones. Let's start there. Okay?
Mark, 27 years I've been calling back dentists to leave a message, and 1 in every 2 goes to voicemail. And we're talking about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I know, but people, it's our reputation. We get the phone to ring, right? That's what dentists, and we get the phone to ring by people who are they're not shoppers for the most part. These are people with $1,600, $1,800, $2,000 worth of average revenue in the first year, and they're still not answering their phones. That's step 1. Make sure your phones are answered. And the step 2 is please review your staff. Okay. Get them some help if they need it, right? Okay.
So what percent of your clients are you recommending the dentist record all incoming calls, and then once a month go over them and review.
We automatically record all the calls.
Yeah, you have to. And don't you think that the instant the receptionist knows all the calls are recorded, they just raise their game?
Yeah. Well, they raise their game, but sometimes when they raise their game, if it was a poor game, they just raise the poor game more. You know what I mean? Okay, so it's not – most of them want to do great, right? But let's face it, man, if you've been in that front desk of that doctor's office for 9, 10 years, you've been saying the same thing 30 times a day. Like you could probably go to sleep doing a two-surface composite. You've done 14 billion of them, right? Same thing with your front desk, folks. They just start to get stale, right? So, get them some help, get them some, some assistance, monitor them, whatever you got to do, because it's amazing the difference between our clients that actually answer all the phones and have good, skilled, energetic people who really value the dentist and the dental services that office.
Okay, but specifically to you, you record once they become your client. You record all the calls.
We record all the calls. My client services team reviews the calls. If they see a problem, they make the doctor aware. Okay, but there's a chasm between awareness and doing something about it, Howard. Okay, because nobody wants to upset the apple cart with Mary at the front desk who's been there messing things up for 24 years. I know. Okay, well, so you're asking me what are some of the things I want to talk about. I mean, that should help some of the people watching this thing. Even if it's just keep your eyes and ears on it, because our clients have access to the same phone calls. You click a button, you put a login and password, and there's every phone call that came into your practice off of your promotion, hundreds of them. And you know how many dentists actually listen to them? Like 10% of our clients.
Yeah.
They don't even review them. And, so that's why I tell our client services once a month, go through them, send the client some alerts, or we give them great feedback. Hey, Jenna sounds great on the phone. She's a keeper, or whatever, whatever little email we send to the doctor, right? But anyway, the bottom line is if the dentist is serious about putting a orchestrated, well thought out, organized marketing plan out there, and they're concerned about the money they're going to spend on that and the return they're going to get, answer all your phone calls and monitor the people and help the people who are answering your phone calls, and you will squeeze every cent out of that marketing investment you possibly can.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, it's stunning how half the calls go to voicemail. And I had one today. I can't even make this up. Called him back, and it told me I couldn't leave a message. The mailbox was full. And you know the dentist is going to whine and blame everything on Obama.
Right.
It's like, really? How did Obama do this?
Right.
I mean, it just, oh my God.
No, I know. And when we get them at lunchtime too, it's funny. We work with our clients, and what's the challenge? Why can't you get your phones covered? Well, we all take lunch at the same time. So the answering machine says, "Hi, you've reached Dr. Schmo and Schmo, and we're out to lunch." Okay, when is it convenient for mom to call the dental office during her busy workday? Think
during
about
lunch.
it. During lunch.
Yeah, and then you ask the same doctor, you say, would you describe your practice as patient customer focused or dentist focused, all about you? And they go, oh, we're patient focused. And they say it with a straight face. What are your hours? 9 to 4. I take lunch 12 to 1. Why doesn't your corporate logo just be you flipping off the community? Right. I mean, so it's hard. But Mark, you got we're at 59 minutes. I got 1 minute. Give a big plug. I've been a client of yours off and on for 27 years. Love you like a brother.
Same here, Howard.
Go to newpatientinks.com, but plug yourself. How can they contact you if they need help?
All right. Is this podcast or video going to be shown to townies?
Yeah, it's going to be on Dentaltown.
Oh, okay.
But I'll post it on social media too. I got 50,000 Facebook friends, and
Yeah, I know. Hey,
Twitter and all that stuff.
a plug. If you want to see what we would do if we were you, just go to newpatientsinc.com, click client survey, answer all the questions. There's about 60 of them there, and about 3 or 4 days later, you get a marketing plan and a conversation. And we don't bug people. Okay, I know. I know there's I guess a fear among dentists that if it's a marketing company, they just hound the crap out of you. Okay. We're the opposite. All right. We're sort of the educators. That's why we write the books. Oh, and if you really want to learn about this subject, Howard, I would invite them to go to Dentaltown, and there's 7 hours of CE on dental marketing. So the dentists who say, well, I don't really sure about this, I want to learn about it, or maybe even make a hobby out of it, your website and the online CE, there's 7 hours sitting right there. Okay.
And I just, we're out of time. We're in overtime. And I just want to say to my viewers out there is, I've used Mark's services. I've known him for years, and he's an amazing man. And Doc, look, you were trained in physics, and 23 ATP came out of the Krebs cycle, but dude, you don't know anything about marketing. And Mark doesn't go into marketing hoping and wanting this to work. Mark's been looking at the numbers for a quarter of a century, and he just does what's work. And Mark, I want to thank you for making those courses on Dentaltown, for answering a gazillion questions. Every time someone throws a question out that nobody can answer, I always forward to you, and you always answer it. And I want to thank you for all that you've done for Dentaltown and all you've done for dentistry.
And thank you, Howard. Same here.
And then and also after this podcast, listen to the other one with his partner in crime, Howie Horrocks. I call myself the other Howard because the real Howard is Howie Horrocks. Thank you, Mark.
All right, thanks, Howard.